Hi guys, this is Allison from Allykatkreations. How are you? Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel if you have yet to do so. And if you get anything from my work, a connected dot, an epiphany, a mind explosion, a new book to read, a new author to explore, please consider supporting my work. All the links are at the bottom of the description. And if you get anything that you see on the table, you like pyramids, card holders, like business card holders. This is a new Scully I made. Scully. You can check out my website, AllyKatzkreations211.com. Some of this stuff will be uploaded in the next few days, so go check that out. It's another way you could support me. And yeah, Oahspe. I think we're getting close to the end of the book of Lika. Fun times. I think today we're going to end the book of Arkaban, and the top we're going to continue for a little bit longer, but not that much. So we're going to start with the lower book at the bottom. Elohai, Almighty, thou my God, who hast delivered my people. I will sing unto thee a song, and children of Israel unto thee, O Elohai. Thou art a great strength and salvation unto thee, Elohai. Will I build my habitation, thou my father's God, Elohai. Thou art my warrior, Elohai, is thy name forever. Thou hast encompassed Pharaoh and his hosts. They are swallowed up in the seas, his chosen captains and his warriors in the Red Sea. The depths covered them up. They sank to the bottom as a stone, O Elohai. Almighty Elohai, glorious in power, in thy right hand thy passed over innocent blood. Thou, my God, Elohai, wise in majesty, in thy right hand thy dash in pieces thy enemy. Excellency, O thy Elohai, in graciousness that came upon them that rose up in thy way. Thou sentest thy breath upon them as stubble. They were cut down by thy righteous sword. By the breath of thy nostrils, thou heapest up the waters of the sea, and the flood stood upright by thy voice to entrap them in the heart of the sea. Thine enemy said, I will pursue, I will overtake them, the spoil shall be mine. I will draw the sword, my hand shall destroy them. Thou didst blow with thy wind, the sea covered them, they sank as lead in the mighty waters. Who is like unto thee, Elohai, against the gods? Who is like thee, glorious in holiness, fearful in praise and wonders, O Elohai? Thou stretchedst out thy right hand, and thy went down into the earth. Merciful Almighty Elohai, my God and God of my fathers, who has led forth Israel and delivered her into the land of her fathers, O Elohai, who has guided them to a holy habitation and peaceful one. All people shall hear and be afraid. Sober thought shall take hold on the habitations of Palestina, and the nobles of Edom shall be amazed. The warrior of Moab, trembling, shall take hold on them, and the wild men of Canaan shall melt away. Thou, O Elohai, shalt strike them with fear. In the magnitude of the strength of thy arm will they be amazed and helpless as stone. For this land is thy purchase, O Elohai. In the Passover of the blood of the Lamb purchase thou it, and Israel shall pass over it in fear. And thou shalt bring them to the mountain of their inheritance, to thy place, our God Elohim, to dwell in thy sanctuary, which thou hast established for thy reign forever and ever. Moses called together the heads of the rabbis privily and spake before them, saying, What have I taken upon me, O Jehovah? Behold, thy sons and daughters have followed me out of Egypt. How shall I bind them unto thee, and not unto me, O my Father in heaven? Jehovah said unto me, Moses, Moses, what I say unto thee, say thou unto the rabbis and unto the heads, saying unto them, not Moses, not the heads, nor the rabbis, brought ye out of Egypt, ye were brought out by the Creator Jehovah, who is God of all, captain of all, head of all, rabbi of all. For herein have I drawn the line betwixt my people and my enemies, the idolaters of men. Because of signs and miracles, the idolaters made a man god of their magician and worship him. But who is like unto thee, Moses, my son? In miracles, who can match thee in the magnitude of thy proceeding? Who led forth my millions and delivered them out of a great power without loss of a man, woman, or child? But I declare unto thee, thou shalt do a greater miracle than any of these, for thou shalt preserve thyself from becoming an idol before men. For thou shalt proclaim me unto thy people in all things, teaching them that thou art but a man. And thy heads and thy rabbis shall likewise teach them after the same manner. For I will put away all idolatry from the face of the earth. Neither will I have kings nor queens. I am sufficient unto all men, as Abraham apportioned my people into families, with rabbis and with chief rabbis, so shalt thou reestablish them. Sorry, guys. My commandments, which I gave unto Abraham, will I give unto thee, and my crescent will I reestablish with my rabbis. And my crescent shall be the fullness of my law unto the rabbis and chief rabbis. Moses said, I cried unto Jehovah, saying, how shall it be with the square and at high noon? And the angel of Jehovah, speaking in the Father's name, said, to the northeast God, to the southwest Lord, to the northwest Baal, to the southeast Azaroth, for Osiris is dead already. To this end, then prepare ye a place this night, that the Great Spirit may bless us. The rabbis and the heads said, it is well. And when it was night, Moses and the rabbis and the heads went away aside, placing sentinels that might be alone. And when they were thus prepared, the light of Jehovah came upon Moses, and the books of the ancients were opened before him, and he administered this really long word I cannot and will not pronounce, just to save sake of life, upon them. Hang on, I'll write it down. Not today. Upon them by the voice of Jehovah, he reestablished it with the rites and ceremonies as they are to this day. And after that, the heads were no longer called heads, but chief rabbis, for Moses appointed them by command, and Jehovah, he appointed them. Sorry, I keep losing my pen and my place. Now I got a wavy hand. And in not many days, Moses wrote the Levitican laws, for the inner temple of Jehovah was in spoken words only, but the outer temple was written. Wherefore it was said, the Hebrews have two laws, one which no man else knoweth, and one for them who are not eligible into the faith, being such as were called Leviticans, but not Leviticans in fact, but hanger-ons, who had followed the Israelites out of Egypt, and who for the most part had no God, little judgment, and no learning. But of all that Moses did and taught, and how he labored with his hands, many books might be written. And it is doubtful if the world ever produced so good a great man. At the time Moses reached Shekelmarth, he was 44 years old by the Hebrew son, but by the Egyptian, he was 88 years old. Of Pharaoh and his hosts were not destroyed in the sea, be it said, they returned home to their places. And not long after that, Pharaoh banished God, Osiris, from the earth, declaring himself the savior of the world and the vicegerent of the Holy Ghost. The scribes and recorders assembled in Kenoah and appointed Phaya, an Egyptian, to write in departure of the Israelites out of Egypt. And Phaya wrote the account and called it the Exodus of the Hebrews, and it was recorded in the king's house of records, and copies of it sent to the large cities, and there recorded also, for such was the law of Egypt. Phaya's records were afterward accepted by Ezra, and it was that which is known to this day as the first book of Exodus. The book of Genesis, as it stood in the Egyptian records, was written by Akaboth and Durim and hazed, and it was the substance from which Ezra copied it through his scribes, even as it is to this day. The inspiration of Genesis was from the god Osiris, the false, and his emissaries, chief of whom were Yatoba in Egypt, who were angel servants to Osiris. And so far as the records now stand, that the spirit of both books was the Egyptian version of the whole subject. Touching genealogies in which men seem to have lived to so great an age, this is the explanation thereof. Thothma had said to his recorders, in searching for the truth of legends, give ye the latitude thereof, for one legend will say such a man lived 700 years ago. Another legend will say he lived 1,050 years ago. The latitude between them is therefore 350 years, which shall be the time of that which man's life. And in this way, latitude became confounded with fact, and with no intent to deceive. And behold, it came to pass that the records were worthless, and to make matters worse, the records were so voluminous, being more than 6,000 books, that the scribes of Ezra could make neither head nor tail of them. Nevertheless, they were all written, in the first place, not by the Israelites, but by their enemies, wherein the testimony of the miracles is not the weaker. Thus ended the history of Moses' deliverance of the faithless out of Egypt. Hear ye now of Shin of the land of Japheth. And this, I think, completes this section. History of Shin of Japheth, founder of China. These are the generations of 7 antecedents of Shin, the chosen of the great spirit Orsman, otherwise in Phoenician Elohai, that is to say. Tizwang begat Hai Gan, who begat Ah So, who begat Tu Yang, who begat Ah Ping, who begat Ti Shuk Li, who begat Tishin Lu, who begat Ah Shou, who begat Tishin Shin, gifted in Suis and Sargris of 6 generations. Of these, two So Young and Ah So were prophets of Jehovah Orsman, and Ah Shou was a seer, but the 6 generations could hear the voice, and they walked upright, keeping the commandments of Jehovah as revealed in the Zoroastrian laws. Ah Shou was a basket maker, and after the manner of the man Zarathustra in Shin, his son, was the 4th birth of Ah Shou's wife, Song Hing. Like Moses, Shin was of copper color and very large, but his hair was red like a fox, and he was bashful in few words. Ah Shou, Shin's father, said, I have another son. My words are wise and true. Shin was unlike any child born in the world. For a boy child or girl child, no physician could tell which, but rather to the boy, kind was he. The angel of Jehovah Orsman came to me before the birth and said, the child shall be called Shin, signifying no sex, as it is written among the ancients, I.e. Su having no earthly desires, for he shall restore the chosen people of Jehovah, whereof I told the physicians before the birth, but they would not believe. Nevertheless, he commanded of Jehovah, I sent for 7 physicians to witness the birth, lest it be said afterward the surgeons have dealt wrongly with the child at its birth. These physicians came to wit, Ga, Si Tha, Ahim Fe, Ti Gao, Tc, Dujon, Fo Shang, and Khan, and they beheld the child born. They made oath and a record thereof touching the strangeness of such a birth, and of the prophecy of it coming into the world. This record was put into the Ha-Ti King library of record belonging to the Sun King. Being now in my old age, I show put these things on record, of which thousands have come to ask me concerning the youthhood of Shin. First, that he was the laziest of all children and dull past belief, for his brothers and sisters mocked him concerning my prophecy as to become great man. Second, he less than a small bird and grew so thin we were ashamed of him in his childhood. Verily, he had nothing but skin and bone with a large head. Third, when he walked about, the stools and tables moved out of his way, and yet no hand touched them. Fourth, the angels of Jehovah often carried him about the hut and would lift him up to pick fruit from the trees. Fifth, he never laughed, but was serious and pleasant like an old man that had abandoned the world. But he spoke so little, no man knew whether he was wise or stupid. Excuse me. When he was 3 years old, his mother weaned him, or rather he weaned himself. And from that time forth, he never ate but fruit and nuts and grains of rice. When he was 16 years old, he began to grow suddenly large and strong and of deep color, whereat I procured a teacher for him. But lo and behold, he could learn a whole book in a day. He learned by hearing once, never forgot anything he learned. In his 22nd year, he began to talk, and the angels of heaven spake through him also. And great was his speech. From sunrise in the morning until late at night, his tongue ceased not to speak, and his mouth was as if it were the mouthpiece of heaven. For when one angel had discoursed before the audience for a while, then came another, and so on. And when no one came, then spake Sheen himself. And there came before him men of great learning and philosophers to try him as to his knowledge, but they all went away confounded, as if they were fools. Neither was it possible to ask him a question he could not answer correctly, whether it was to read a tablet or to reveal the size of a build of a temple he never saw, or the sickness of a man who was far away, for all things were to him as an open book. For 4 years this great wisdom remained in him, and his fame spread from the east to the west, and from the north to the south. No man knew how far. When he was asked how far he could see and hear, he said, over all my land. And he marked with his finger, saying, on this tablet, Sheen land. Thus was the country named Sheen, China, which is breadeth to this day. Oahspe said suddenly, Sheen's abundant speech ceased, and he answered only yea or nay to all things. And he was silent for 7 years and 80 days. And then the angels from the second heaven came to him. After that, he spoke not as man, save in private, but he spake as the light, whereof the world knoweth the rest. Sheen said, I am a man only. I am the all light. My voice is that of the liveth forever. Worship me not. Worship not man. Worship all light. I am Jehovah Orsman, ever present. Because of my abundance in man, man openeth the mouth, maketh words. To know me is to know all things. He who striveth to me is my chosen. He knoweth not me, proveth not me. He who knoweth me cannot prove me. To every self I am, I, the self of that self. To perfect that self, which is in all selves, which a man is one with me to travel on such a road that is the right road. Hear me, O man, I come every 3,000 years. I newly light up the world. My voice cometh upon the souls of men. Thy all highest is me. They all lowest is sin. Two things only set I before thee, O man, the self that is myself and the self that is thyself. Which wilt thou serve? For hereon hangeth either thy resurrection or thy hell. In the time of the first of ancients, I asked the same questions. Whoso said, I will serve thee, Orsman, thou all self, he was my chosen. Whoso answered, I will serve thyself, or myself, was Satan's. The latter went on the wrong road. Their tail was blood, and death wore their glory. They fell upon my chosen like tigers, have they pursued them. I called out in the ancient days, why persecute my chosen and destroy them? And they answered, they will not war. They serve not our king. They serve the King of Kings. They practice peace. They uphold not our God. But I stretch forth my hand from the second heaven. I bow down to my virgin daughter, the troubled earth. Ma-la. And I took my chosen and put them in Brahma's hands, and they were sharply and fleet-footed, valiant in love and good works. And I sent great learning unto the sons of men, and wisdom and peace and great rejoicing. And Ma-la blossom was fragrant as new honey and cleanly and full of virtue. Her daughters hid the thigh and the ankle, their full breasts were concealed, and their words were more of modesty. Her sons were early to rise, producing abundance, and with songs of rejoicing, and with dancing, for my beloved shaped the ways of man. Their progeny were as the sweet blossoms of an orchard, as the fragrance of red clover. I said unto them, fear not, thy sons and daughters are a great glory to thee. Count thou the days of thy wife, and rejoice when the birth draweth nigh, for it is fruit of me and thee. And they taught the little ones to clap their hands and rejoice. I made them for this. Sing, O earth, hold up thy head, I said to my beloved, for mine is a place of glory and sweet love, sparkling with good delights. None could restrain them, like little colts and young lambs at play. Their capers were unceasing and most tender. This was my good creation, the bliss of my chosen. This was my shapely earth in the days of peace and in the times of my chosen. Nor war, nor weeping was there, nor hunger, nor thirst, nor famine, nor fields lying waste, nor sickness, nor evil diseases, nor cursing, nor swearing, nor lying, nor deceit, nor hardships and sore toil, nor any evil thing under the sun. I, the light, the all light, Jehovah, had spoken. Will they hear my words? How will man judge me, the Creator? Hath he gone amongst my beloved and my upraised who obey my commandments? Have he seen the beauty of the earth in the hands of my chosen? O man, thou fool, thou goest into the dark corner and sayest, how dark? Thou goest before my enemies and sayest, what a vain creation. Or searcheth among them the serve me not, and sayest, miserable world, amongst them that hate me, and sayest, how wickedly they kill one another. Oh, that Jehovah had made a better creation. Thou criest out, there is no happiness on the earth, all is misery and sorrow and pain and death. And this is thy standard, O man, to judge thy Creator. Thou sayest there is no peace, nor delight, nor love, nor harmony on the earth. Stubborn man, in contrary, and of a narrow judgment. Oh, that thou wouldest stand in a clean place and high, and then judge. Hast thou measured my chosen, who have faith in my person? Why hast thou treasured thyself, and put thyself uppermost of all things? Who hast thou found that denied my person, but dwelt in the lust of self-conceit? Where is thy standard? Save the all high. What is thy dispute about the all low? If I call myself the All-High, art thou better pleased? If Satan calleth himself the All-Low, wilt thou be satisfied? Or shall a man not speak of the All-High, nor of the All-Low? Are they not such things? And they shall not have names. Thy wicked hand raiseth up against my chosen, to lay them in death. And when thou hast trailed the earth over in blood, and overhand is wearied with destruction, and thy little ones have not wherein to eat, thou prayest, O Father, help thy little ones. I have spoken. I'm going to leave that section here. Trying to write that down. Next time we'll pick up from the next chapter. The upper book. That I could have sang thee a song of delight, thou all highest, or find the words to make plain thy marvelous ways. But thou hast limited me as a shadow of which thou art the substance. Thy causes are deep and of long times, my judgment less than a breath of air. I resolve and reason and devise, but all is nothing before thee. Today my soul is buoyed up with great rejoicing. Thou hast sent me my loves. I would bind them with sweet words, their wisdom would I feast upon forever. In their great mercy, Jehovah, thou hast showed me a world of delight. How can I repay thee, or thy countless millions make to understand the way of rejoicing? Oh, that I could show them the secret way of bliss, or turn them in the direction of the All-Highest. Could they be the within to know the delight of that which proceedeth outward? Oh, that I could make them understand to look upward instead of downward, to look inward instead of outward. How thou followest up thy wayward children, thy truants that strive to go away from thee. They wander away off, and thou givest the slack of the leading line unto them. They go as if around a circle and come to the place of beginning at last. Oh, that I could prevail upon them in the start, that I could save them the first journey of the circle. Oh, that they would go slowly with thee always, Jehovah. But thou enrichest them with thy bounteous fields. They travel far and are footsore and weary, and the twain causes are as a new book of songs. Oh, that experience may never die, and thy creations never cease to have adventurous sons and daughters. Oh, that I could understand thy greatness, or find in the darkness the light that glorifieth thy countenance. I drink deep of my own folly, and my eyes wander about because of the darkness. I come upon thy pathway and burst forth with a song of delight. Yea, I rejoice for the darkness I have passed through in this AM. I am buoyant in my love to thee, my Creator. How can I make all thy people to sing songs unto thee, or teach them to harp, not forever on the dark side of things? I have seen the tree of hell they planted in their own souls, and the way they cultivate it. They know not what is meant by singing praises unto thee, and thy groweth in them. Why will they interpret me by words, or realize not that I sing of the exuberance of the soul, or that I could inspire them to talk good of all things, to harp forever on the beauties thou hast made, instead of the ills and horrors around about? Can they never understand what it is to sow the seed of the tree of endless delight? Oh, that I could call them unto thee, Jehovah, or that I could lift their aspiration up from the shadows of death. I would follow them into thy great gardens, which thou hast created, that which is green, where they go and curse thee, and that which is ripe, where I have found thee full of love. Because I said, sing unto him forever, pray to him with great rejoicing. They interpret me to mean words uttered as a mocking bird. Yea, they grumble forever. To find thee, O Jehovah, to glorify the good that cometh along. This is the salvation of the world. Of these My song shall never end. Without a shadow of darkness, thou wilt turn my voice forever. I will sing and dance before thee. The germ of happiness in my soul will I nurse as thy holiest gift. For all the trees which thou hast planted in the soul of men and angels, this is the most glorious, for it is perfection of thy voice which singeth in all thy living creatures. When Ahura ended his song, then spake Lika, for the voice of Jehovah was upon him. He said, Many leaders have I created for the earth and her heavens, but not one have I created with the power to make a leader of himself. My hand is upon them that I choose. With wisdom and power raise I them up from the beginning. To a people on the earth I give a king. To the inhabitants of my heavens I give lords and gods. Because ye have tried the fullness of self and raised up mighty realms in heaven, but to come to naught before my hands, ye are as a new power in these heavens. As by the name Jehovah I have maintained the faithess in earth and heaven, so shall ye rule over my enemies in righteousness and love and good works. By the names Lord and God, which they shall worship unto the coming of the next dawn. But I will come in that day and deliver you and them, and there shall be no more Lord or God upon the earth or in the heavens thereof. Grieve not that ye have had great kingdoms and been overthrown and cast into torments, for ye have been so prepared in my works that I might reach them that are not of the flesh and blood of my faithess. And inasmuch as ye have gone to the farthest limit of glory, and of the darkness of hell, so will I give unto you wisdom, love, and power accordingly. For to make ready for the Cosmon era, I will not a few, but thousands and millions in heaven and earth, to inspire such as Lot live. Geez, Louise, sorry, there's my brain. In darkness. As I deliver you, so shall ye deliver them, because they will accuse themselves with war and with standing armies for the sake of the earthly glory unto their rulers. Ye shall encompass them about and break them up and deliver them into my kingdoms, which are peace and love. As ye have been delivered out of hell, so shall ye be delivered, the kings and queens of the earth and of their kingdoms, wherein they will knowingly bind themselves in condemnation before me. They shall be made to understand that whoso assumeth a kingdom shall not rule it unto his glory without reaping the fruits of hell. When the king goeth forth, he shall not be afraid. He will cut down, nor shall his marshals stand before him to protect him. For my person shall shield him, and his people will shout with great joy when he steps draw nigh. To serve me is not in prayer only, or in rites and ceremonies, but in stretching forth the hand to do good unto others with all of one's might. Because ye have proved that force and violence only established for a day, and are not of me, so shall ye make them understand that whoso useth force and violence are enemies. To sustain himself is not of me, but is my enemy, and is on the way to destruction. Whoso being a king or a general or a captain, and in war, either offensive or defensive, professing to serve me by rites and ceremonies and praises, is a mocker of me and my kingdoms, yea, a blasphemer in my sight. He proveth the way of his own torments. These are my creations to answer force with force, violence with violence, mockery with mockery, alike and like, as seed is sown, so shall the harvest come unto the sowers. Neither shall evil and darkness and misery cease on earth till I have disbanded the dealers in death. By my own hand will I liberate the nations of the earth. Their armies shall go away like the winter snow in sun and summer. To which end ye shall be my workers with wisdom and love and power. During the 4th year of dawn, the voice of Jehovah came to Lika, saying, My son, thou shalt provide thyself an army sufficient, and thou shalt take away from the earth all angels below the first resurrection, save such fatals as are under the dominion of my heavenly rulers, and thou shalt provide them separate regions in my lower heavens, whence they cannot return to mortals. And thou shalt appoint rulers and teachers over them to deliver them out of the madness and evil stupor. Of thy Ethereal host shall they appoint teachers and rulers for that purpose. But at the end of the dawn, they shall give over the places to atmospherians selected from Theovrakishan. From this time forth, my atmospherians shall begin to help one another, not depending for all teachers to come from the Ethereal heavens. Lika then called up at yes on itus, whatever, and told him of Jehovah's words, and forever added, to thee do I therefore allot this labor, and I give unto thee 12 generals for the different regions of the earth, and unto each of the 12 I allot 5 million Ethereans, whom thou canst draw from the armies that were engaged in delivering the hells and knots. At yes on it us, seriously, that's what it says, said, in Jehovah's will and thine, I am pleased. I will divide up the regions of the earth amongst the 12 generals and give unto each one of them the 5 million according to the commandments. At yes on it us then sent officers out into the different regions in Atmospheria to select the 60 million deliverers, commanding them to report in Theovrakishan in the valley of Tish, his heavenly place, whether he took the 12 generals that Lika had assigned to him. Lika gave to at yes on it us a list of the spirits to be thus taken away from mortals, that is, the engrafted, the demons, the familiars, the vampires, and the lusters, and such other spirits as otherwise led mortals into darkness and crime, showing him the regions of the earth where they were most numerous. With which list at yes on it us and his generals made themselves well acquainted before the starting of his perilous enterprise. At yes on it us then ordered the shipbuilders to provide him 12,000 fireboats with bulwarks of fire and with gateways. In the meantime, Lika sent Yasmis with 400 geographers and mathematicians and surveyors to find the necessary plateau to which at yes on it us could send his captured hosts. Yasmis therefore found the 6 heavenly plateau known, oh geez Louise, as Igsadisi. Sorry, I'm butchering names. I can't stand this book with their names. Hang on. There's a lot more I have to write here because I'm not going to embarrass. That's the first one. To wit, T Walla Walla over Arabia, 1,200 miles high. Over Vinu, 1,000 miles high. Over Jaeth, 1,100 miles high. Elapub over Europa, 1,000 miles high. Apak over North and South Guatemala, 600 miles high and bordering on Yatanti, the subjective heaven of the ancients, which was now being re-established by the Karparos and Fu over 9,000 miles high. Yasamis provided these heavens with no roadways in order to prevent the delivered spirits flocking together, in which case they might run into anarchy hells, and accordingly appointed unto each of these heavens one ruler of the rank primal god, selecting them forth the Ethereal host, but empowering them to bestow their thrones on successors at the end of the dawn, giving terms of office not less than 200 years, but subject to the limiting power of the god Theovrakistan. Lika gave 4,000 messengers to Yes on it us, and 12,000 messengers to Eusemus, to whom he also gave 60 million laborers. But each of them provided their own heralds, musicians, marshals, and captains in their own way. Now, therefore, Yes on it us and Eusemus is receiving their armies of laborers, fell to work, the former to delivering, and the later to receiving the drujas of the earth. And Eusemus put his host to building houses and hospitals, heavenly places, and to finding cities and providences through the primal gods under him. Jehovah had said, all angels below the first resurrection, save infants, shall be known in heaven on earth as drujas, for they are such as have not capacity and knowledge or strength of individuality. As there are on earth paupers and vagrants and beggars and criminals who are drooks, so they are in Hada spirits that are great trial to both mortals and angels, and they inhabit mortals in the houses that mortals dwell in. Some mortals have one or two of them, some a score, and some have hundreds of them. Some of them continue to inhabit mortal dwellings long after mortals have abandoned them, even till they fall in ruins. And whoso cometh into such a house, the drujas come upon him to live on him and with him. Possession much? And if a mortal have greater wisdom and strength of a soul than the drujas, the ruleth over them to a good purpose, reforming them and raising them up out of the darkness and helplessness. But if the drujas have greater power than the mortal, then they pull him down into darkness, making of him a great man to lust after the affairs of earth. Sometimes they help men to riches and great power. And if he had sons and daughters who are brought up in idleness and ease and luxury, then the drujas fasten upon them, leading them in their own way of lust and debauchery or heartlessness. The flesh eater is their delight, and the drunkard their great joy. The man of riches and kings, of generals and fighting men and heralds and soldiers are great treasures to them. And all manner of intoxicating things that mortals delight in are great feasts and rejoicing to them. The priests and preacher who live in ease and luxury, performing showy rites and entertainments, are as great harvest for them to revel in. On some occasion, the drujas rule over their mortal, and his neighbors call him mad. And they send him to a mad house, which is to them a city of delight. When mortals engage in war, slaying one another, the drujas have great merriment, taking part by inspiring the mortals in the conflict. The pleader, lawyer, is a favor to them, for his vocation bringeth them in the midst of contention and craft and lying. He is to them a fortunate habitation. The magician that worketh miracles and tricks is their favorite, for with him and through him they can make themselves manifest. And when they show themselves and are questioned as to who they are, they answer to any name that will please or flatter, even at times pending to be gods and saviors. The tattling women that talketh of their neighbors is a good home for drujas. And if the woman be given to talk evil, they are rejoiced beyond measure. The man is a greater boaster and a liar, and a slanderer is a choice house for them to dwell in. The cheater and defrauder, the miser and the spendthrift, the curser of Jehovah, the curser of the gods, is like a citadel for them to inhabit. They go not for the most part away from the mortal they inhabit whilst he liveth. Nigh, they have not wisdom or strength to go more than 1 length away. Some of them have strength to go to a neighbor or to a neighbor's house. And if a mortal curse his neighbor to die, then such drujas as can go to that neighbor seek out some poisonous infection and inoculate him to death, which is called casting spells. Nigh, there is nothing too low or fell for them. and for the most part they are but idiots and deranged imbeciles answering to any name or request, like a man who is drunk, one so very drunk that he knoweth not and careth not. A large city full of crime and debauchery and rich and fashionable people, and people of evil habits, suiteth them better than a country place. Jujas dwell as numerously among the rich and fashionable as amongst the poor. They fill the bawdy house and temples of the idolaters. A court of justice full of pleaders, lawyers, and criminals is their delightful resort. But a battle and a war is a sweet amusement to them. A laboring man that is good and honest is a little value to him, save he be a gross feeder or drinker of intoxicating wines. A man that marrieth a rich, lazy woman receiveth with his wife 100 jujas or more. Jujas rule over mortals more than mortals rule over them. It was because of their abundance and their power to do evil that Jehovah commanded his chosen to marry amongst themselves and to draw from other peoples and make themselves a separate and exclusive people, that they might not be inhabited with Drujas. When a mortal dieth, and he had dominion over his Drujas, not only his spirit will rise to the first resurrection, but his Drujas also, whereupon they are all delivered into the light. When a mortal dieth, and his Drujas have dominion over him, then his spirit become a Druj also, and he becometh one of them, fastening on whomsoever cometh in the way. But if he be in a good house, and no mortal cometh upon whom they can fasten, then they remain in that house. And here they may remain a year or 10 years or 100 years in darkness, knowing nothing, doing nothing, until other angels come and deliver them, and which is often no easy matter, requiring bodily force to carry them away. Gotta love this section on possession. Jehovah gave certain signs unto both angels and mortals, whereby it shall be known, both on earth and in heaven, which is master over the other, a mortal or his Druja, and consequently such matter determineth to what place the spirit of man will most readily fall after death. If the mortal cannot control his habit for intoxication or gluttony, or a vice, or debauchery, or laziness, or lying, or hypocrisy, preaching what he practiceth not, or sexual indulgence, or vengeance, or anger, or tattling mischievously, then is he indeed a victim in the hands of Drujas, and at the time of his death he will become one of them. For if he had not power to rule in such matters while as he is mortal in the world, he will be no stronger by the loss of his corporeal body. If the mortal, on the other hand, shall have risen to control himself over these habits and desires, then will he be indeed at the time of death already entered into the first resurrection, and the Drujas, if he have any, will be delivered also. And not the words and professions of either mortals or Drujas, nor their prayers, nor religious rites and ceremonies are of any value unto them, but by the works and behavior of mortals are all things known to be proven. So that Jehovah's high-rise gods just need pass over the corporeal city once to determine whether it be in resurrection or decline. And such gods put their angel laborers to work, sorting them as a mortal would his cattle. Wow, my brain is going bop, 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 bop. Sorry. And if a city be badly cast in Drujas, dragging mortals down to destruction spiritually, then the angels inspire such mortals as are in the way of resurrection to move out of the city, and after that they cast the city into fire and burn it down. And whilst it is burning and the Drujas distracted with the show, the angels of power come upon them and carry them off, hundreds of millions of them, and the mortals are thus cleared of them that would have bound them in darkness after death. In this matter, the infidel curseth Jehovah, because the houses are burned, for he judgeth matters by the things his soul was set upon. He saith, what a foolish God, how wicked to burn a city. For he understoodeth not that all things are Jehovah's, and that his gods under him work not for man's earthly aggrandizement, which is the curse of his spirit, but they work for his spiritual resurrection in their own way, according to the Father's light in them, to accomplish the resurrection of the Drujas, dwelling with mortals on the earth, had Lika son of Jehovah appointed at on Itas with his 12 generals, very gods in wisdom and power, each one to a certain division of earth. I'm going to leave it there, my friends. Sending each and every one of you love, light, compassion, grace, protection, and shielding energy. Please be safe, be seen. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. If you have yet to do so, sorry for the allergies and I'm getting downloads and all that fun stuff. So I hope all of you have a beautiful, blessed start to your week. Please be safe, be seen, and I hope to see you guys on the next one. Bye for now.